Charles Leclerc signed a new Ferrari contract in January 2024, a bumper 5-year deal running through 2029, wages growing from 25 million euros to potentially double that by the end. Team leader status guaranteed. The dream partnership. But buried in that contract is a clause that could blow everything apart. A performance-related exit option, activating after 2027. And with Ferrari struggling through 2025, that clause has gone from fine print to Ferrari's worst nightmare. The contract details. La Gazzetta dello Sport revealed the full structure. 5-year contract through 2029, worth £20 million per year minimum. Escalating to potentially $50 million by the final year. But here's the critical detail. Performance-related exit clauses enforceable after 3 years. After the 2027 season, Leclerc's manager, Nicolas Tot, negotiated it specifically to protect Leclerc from being trapped at an uncompetitive team through his prime. This wasn't unusual. Every top driver has performance clauses, but nobody expected them to become relevant this quickly. Why 2027 matters. 2027 isn't a random date, it's strategic. The 2026 regulations represent the biggest F1 shakeup in years. New power units, new chassis, new aero rules. Everything resets. Every team starts from zero. The competitive order we've known for years could flip overnight. Leclerc negotiated his exit clause for after 2027 specifically, to assess how Ferrari and their rivals perform under the new regulations. 1 year isn't enough. 2026 is the transition. Teams are still figuring things out. Development wars are just beginning. Performance swings wildly. But by the end of 2027, the competitive order will be clear. The winners and losers of the regulatory reset will be obvious, and that's when Leclerc can walk. The 2025 reality check Ferrari arrived in 2025 with championship ambitions, Lewis Hamilton joining, Charles Leclerc entering his prime, a dream team setup, and they've completely failed. After 9 races in 2025, Leclerc sits 5th in the standings. Ferrari has fallen to 4th in the Constructors. The SF25 has performed way below expectations. Ferrari is the only top 4 team without a Grand Prix win in 2025. At the Brazilian Grand Prix, Ferrari arrived 2nd in the Constructors on 356 points. They left 4th on 362, overtaken by both Mercedes and Red Bull. The car is fundamentally flawed. At Singapore, Leclerc finished 6th, nearly 46 seconds behind the leader. His frustration was visible. Total resignation. He said it himself. We are struggling massively with the car. I wish I could say I'm positive for the rest of the season. I don't think there's anything in the car that proves to me we are going to do a step forward. That's not a frustrated driver having a bad weekend. That's a championship caliber driver watching his prime years slip away. Rival team circling. Aston Martin has made no secret of their interest. Leclerc's camp approached them in August 2025. Aston Martin hired Adrian Newey, partnering with Honda as factory engine team from 2026. Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll only under contract through 2026. The pieces fit. Leclerc in 2027, Newey designed car, Honda power, championship infrastructure. Mercedes is also in talks. Toto Wolff spoke to Leclerc about 2027. George Russell's contract runs through 2027 with performance clauses. If Russell underperforms or Mercedes wants to make a statement, Leclerc is their target. Red Bull is the wild card. Reports suggest Leclerc's manager approached Red Bull about 2027. If Max Verstappen leaves, they need a generational talent. But Red Bull means being number 2 if Verstappen stays. Leclerc didn't leave Ferrari to play second fiddle. Ferrari's nightmare scenario. Ferrari convinced Leclerc to commit long-term, brought in Lewis Hamilton, invested heavily in 2026 regulations, and if they can't deliver a championship car by end of 2027, they could lose both drivers. Hamilton has his own performance clauses. Reports suggest he could walk after 2026 if Ferrari doesn't turn things around. Ferrari could face a scenario where their entire driver lineup exercises exit clauses simultaneously. That would be catastrophic. Losing Leclerc specifically would hurt Ferrari's long-term future. He's been groomed as Ferrari's championship hope since 2019. He was supposed to be the face of Ferrari's next era. If he walks, Ferrari doesn't just lose a driver. They lose their entire narrative. Leclerc's perspective. From Leclerc's side, the calculus is straightforward. He's 28 years old in 2025, entering his absolute prime. He has 8 Grand Prix wins to his name, but no World Championship. Every year without a title-contending car is a year wasted. Leclerc has given Ferrari 7 years by the end of 2025. If by the end of 2027 they still haven't given him a car capable of fighting for championships, why would he stay? His public statements remain committed. I believe in the project. I believe in Fred Vasseur. I want to win with Ferrari. But he's also realistic. Clearly, it's a complicated moment, and in times like this, it's easy to have doubts. The exit clause is his insurance policy, and he's smart enough to use it if Ferrari doesn't hold up their end of the bargain. The 2026 to 2027 pressure cooker. Everything now hinges on Ferrari's performance in 2026 and 2027. 2026 is the regulatory reset. Ferrari has to nail it. They can't afford another false start like 2022 or another developmental disaster like 2025. The new power unit regulations are particularly critical. Ferrari is a works team. They build their own engines. They should have an advantage. But should have doesn't cut it anymore. Ferrari has underdelivered too many times. 2027 is the judgment year. By the end of that season, Leclerc will know. Either Ferrari has figured it out or they're still stumbling in the dark. If Ferrari is competitive, Leclerc stays. The exit clause becomes irrelevant. He gets his championship. Ferrari gets their hero story. But if Ferrari is still struggling, still making the same mistakes, still promising next year, Leclerc walks. And Ferrari's nightmare becomes reality. The Hamilton factor. Adding complexity. Lewis Hamilton's situation mirrors Leclerc's. Hamilton joined Ferrari in 2025 for one reason: to win an 8th world championship with the sport's most iconic team. He's not here to finish 6th. He's not here to develop cars for future seasons while his career ends. If Ferrari can't deliver by 2026, Hamilton could exercise his exit clauses. Reports suggest he has options after 2026. Imagine Ferrari in 2027 without Hamilton and without Leclerc. 2 of the biggest names in motorsport gone. That's not just a driver problem, that's an existential crisis. The broader implications. Leclerc's exit clause reveals a fundamental shift in F1 driver contracts. Top drivers are no longer willing to lock themselves into long-term deals without escape routes. Performance clauses protect drivers from wasting their primes at uncompetitive teams. For Leclerc, it's smart negotiating. For Ferrari, it's a ticking time bomb. Ferrari doesn't control their own destiny anymore. They have a hard deadline: deliver a championship car by the end of 2027 or lose their star driver. Charles Leclerc's Ferrari contract runs through 2029 on paper, but the reality is far more complex. The performance-related exit clause after 2027 gives him freedom to leave if Ferrari doesn't deliver. With Ferrari struggling through 2025, that clause is transformed from contractual fine print to genuine threat. Rival teams know it. Aston Martin, Mercedes, possibly Red Bull are all waiting. For Ferrari, the next 2 years are existential. They must deliver in 2026 and 2027. Not just competitiveness, not occasional wins, but genuine, sustained, championship-level performance. Because if they don't, Charles Leclerc will exercise his exit clause, and Ferrari's worst nightmare becomes reality. Watching their homegrown star win championships for someone else. The clock is ticking. 2027 is closer than it seems, and Ferrari has everything to lose.